I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Dave Etter. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Oh, I'm enjoying it. It's a warm afternoon in Germany where it's been cold for the last few days.
That's great. The Caribbean seems to be blowing it your way, right?
That's what I'm hoping.
Well, Dave,
We
please.
do have to cross the equator to get your
To me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I could blow through the mic and hopefully it comes through though.
There you go. Try it.
Well.
Oh, hey, I got it. There. Balmy. Yeah. I like it.
My 95 year, well, she'll be 95 on December 24th, grandmother, she always blows a kiss when I'm passing by and she says,
Nice.
if you do not want it, send it back.
Well, but then if you send her one, she's going, wait, is this mine or is this yours?
Oh, well, Dave, please do tell us which of your talents, amazing audience, if you haven't figured it out yourself, is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Well, I think it's probably because we both do podcasts. You do yours, which is an amazing podcast. I'm really impressed, and I'm proud to be one of your guests. And thank you for doing
You're
this.
welcome.
I like doing podcasting. I like doing broadcasting, and I think that's pretty much it. We tend to gyrate around finding the people that are like-minded, and we support each other.
Definitely. And in the podcaster community, believe me, it is a family. Well, David,
It is.
It is. David, do tell us the name of your podcast and what you do there, please.
Well, I have two of them right now. The one that I'm doing that's closest to what you're doing is called SpouseWorld 1-to-1, where I am a military spouse. My wife is in the military, so I get a chance to talk to all of the spouses of other military members and find out what makes them special, and do a little 15-minute thing that I try to do every weekday. It's entirely dependent on who wants to be interviewed, and that's making it a little difficult. You've got a wide variety of people, which has me impressed, but I'm trying to focus mostly with military spouses. My first podcast was a actual live internet radio show called Male Military Spouse Radio Show, and it was designed for those of us guys that are married to military members, and it showed the differences and the solutions that we can come up with, guys that aren't all flowery and covered with perfume.
Who did you learn that skill from? The skill of should we do podcasting or should we do broadcasting? Should we build it from the broadcasting? We could do both.
We could actually do it from broadcasting,
Okay.
because back in the day when I was much younger, I started in high school working with a radio show out of the high school. It was called Safford High on the Air. It was a 15-minute show that we did once a week, but they brought four of us high school kids into the studio, and we had the 15 minutes to do whatever we wanted. And we expanded that to a half hour. I then landed a job at a radio station. After I got out of high school, I landed a job as a sideshow barker running with the carnival in California. And then I went on to karaoke host while I was in the Navy, and then started doing, I did some ring announcing for an MMA group. I've just been behind a microphone my entire existence, it seems. And so one of the things with at the time where I was doing the MMA, I was also working at a country radio station, and I was the program director and one of the morning show co-hosts. So It was a lot of fun. Did that for almost 8 years. They sold the station, which means they changed all of the talent out, which I can kind of say they fired me, but yeah, they fired me.
Where did you get or learn, or even probably was handed down to you, but where did the sense of humor come from?
I don't rightly know. I think God. God gives so many gifts out, and that's one of many of God's gifts that people just have a tendency to ignore, not notice, is the ability to see humor in things. There are several types of humor. Most people associate humor with the slapstick kind, where somebody else has pain and you laugh at it. But in this kinder, gentler society, we're trying to get away from that. So humor in itself is just, if you find something that makes somebody smile, then you have found a note in which you can expand with people. So yeah,
I love it.
Humor's just cool.
Yeah, Dave is definitely the guy I once invited to the party. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. Why will you continue to repeat the skills of sharing others and sharing their messages?
Well, I think the reason why is because if I find them interesting, part of my brain says, I wonder how many other people find them interesting. And so if I can put together a podcast so that people are listening, other folks will find them at their convenience and will probably catch their message when they need it the most.
Yeah, love that. Dave, where's the best place for people to connect with you? We did we say we did mention the name of the podcast, Spouse One-to-One World. Yeah, wonderful. Make sure that happened. Well, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Oh, last 3 years? Played Army husband. With regards of doing things for other people would be probably Boy Scouts.
All right. How does that make you feel?
Sure. Boy Scouts have always been part of my life. I grew up as a scout, and then I had the opportunity to lead in the very scout troop that I was in Arizona. And then so continuing from there, it was just natural occurrence to take on the higher roles, to expand what knowledge was available, make sure it got out there the way it needed to, and we create great leaders through the Boy Scout whole Boy Scout realm. And Boy Scouts are changing, and it's getting to be a lot more worldly, if you will. One of the fun things about being here in Europe at the moment and being in Boy Scouts of America is we get to interact with the French Boy Scouts and the English Boy Scouts and the German Boy Scouts from all over the world come together in Switzerland, and it's just mind-boggling.
It seems as though you have a pulse on who you are, a pulse on what you intend to accomplish in this world. Why would you suggest someone do what you've done, Dave, by just placing yourself in the place you desire to be and then letting the course run its way?
Oh, that's a good question. Why should somebody do this? I don't think that you can somebody do this unless they have the passion. It's like a job. And we'll take your show, for instance. You're putting out a lot of interviews, a lot of them. If you did not have the passion for it, you wouldn't be able to do it. You'd burn out real quick. So it's like that. It's like the lady down on the street corner who sells buttons. I mean, think about it. Who sells buttons? Why would you sell buttons? How can you make a living selling buttons? But she's been doing it for 40, 50 years from the same store, and she's paying rent. She's got to have the passion, and she's got to have a way of doing it. That's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to sell buttons. But if you know something you have a passion for, do it. The money will come.
The money will come. Love it. Amazing audience. We are live with Dave Etter. Again, you could definitely check him out. He is the podcast host of Spouse 101. Pretty amazing. SpouseWorld, my apologies. It slipped out there. SpouseWorld.
That's fine.
One-to-one. Amazing things going on there. Pretty amazing conversations. Check that out. Well, Dave, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
Nice. I see the turtles.
Dave, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, that, believe it or not, earliest childhood memory has to be the day that I opened my eyes in the hospital.
Wow.
I do remember seeing a sign, and it's so vivid that years later I knew what the sign said. It said exit.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah, I'm
Wow.
pretty sure it was shortly after. I mean, I think I was born with my eyes closed, and so, it was on a changing table, I think.
So, why do you think this memory is so clear, and how can you connect that to who you are now?
I think it's because the letters were red, the lines were sharp, it was clearly defined, burned into my brain, and it kind of helps me realize that I do like attention to detail. I do like paying attention to what's around me, whether I react correctly to it or if the surroundings around me react well to me remains to be seen. But I will see that coin sitting on the road a few feet ahead of me and just off to the right, and nobody's looking at it, and I'll see it without looking at it.
Wow. All right. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
One of the things that pops out is I know there's a lot going on in the space as to the psychological effects of what is going on with our smartphones and these notification things that are red and white that are on our screens, right? With that being said, on that side, I'm fascinated by the fact that as much as that was the beginning of your life, the understanding that there's going to come a time when there will be an exit. But the space between that time, right? The space between that time and what you do and the decisions you make and the impact you have on others, the decision as to who you will be. Will you function in your passion or will you not? And I'm just fascinated by how that connects.
Very good. Yes, that is spot on. Spot on.
Well,
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, my friend, if we fast forwarded to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
12 years old. That was 6th grade. It probably was not Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, but really close. The song Uncle Albert.
All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Dave?
Sure. Go for it.
Dave, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No. Yes. The world.
Oh, are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Oh, yes.
Do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Sadly, yes.
All right. What about screen time? The phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Used to be a lot more than 8, but now it is much less.
Dave, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
To be true to yourself and find your passion, because you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. You might as well enjoy it. And if you're doing something you like and you like it very well, you will not be unhappy.
Love it. Dave, Etter, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Other than if Engel asks you to do an interview, please take advantage of it.
I'm not sure I'm going to say repeat that, take advantage of me. You're good. I'm just... Dave, Etter, this was a great pleasure. One more time, I'll tell you, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure enjoying the Caribbean with you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyag.com.